Now, this is Grumpy Dave's Garage. I got up this morning, read a passage in the Bible, had my morning coffee, had my pills, drank a liquid breakfast. I was out here at first light. It's almost 11 o'clock and the heat is starting to get to me. Now, the car has been undercoated. Everything's prepped and ready under the car. Had to repair a broken shackle. I keep these things around for batteries and just about anything else. Now, I buy this stuff by the tub. It's pretty good stuff for assembling parts. You cannot use oil-based products on petroleum-based products on rubber now, for no other reason and the fact that they've changed the formulation in the rubber, and as anybody's known has put stuff in and used it, it starts deteriorating pretty quick. So we'll just give this a little. I'm gonna have this stuff all over everything anyway. This is the fastest way I found to set them. Now they had a metal sleeve in there. And everybody bitches. I got a buddy of mine who says, oh, I've been why, I can't get my bushings out. Now I gotta get, he's been sitting on his project for 3 months. Took a torch over, I heated it up right here in the bin, nothing fancy, till they started kind of bubbling and smoking, wanting to catch on fire. I took a socket, he had some WD-40, I sprayed it on the socket, turned it up, put a couple, he had a brick laying there, and I just banged the rubber centers out of them. And I explained to him, all you gotta do is where that curls over right there, I got an old Sawzall, it's 40 some years old. My first tool I ever bought to work on houses with. You put a metal blade in it and you cut right there in that opening so you can't damage the spring. When the blade cuts through, okay, it'll grab the blade because it's spring loaded, it's pressure in there under pressure. So you're gonna have to wrestle a little bit to get the blade back out. And then I use a punch on my little number 5 BFH. I just drive it down in there, it folds over. When it sticks out the other side, I smack it, pull it out. You can hit it with the tip of this one, or with a flat punch, and it'll walk right out of there. If you do it the other way, you will beat on it for a week and it won't move. Okay? Here's what they give you. It comes with the kit. Isn't that cute? It's a little dab of stuff to put this together with. Sure. I have this stuff everywhere. But I don't care. It makes the parts slide together. I had a wire brush I used to put on a drill. I can't find it. I got people that wanted to borrow stuff. I said no. Now the shit's gone, so I know who's got it. It's the people that asked to borrow it. Come on, come on. Yeah, we'll just do a little compression deal here. Come on, come on. There we go. I don't know what the problem is. Everybody's complaining about putting these bushings in. And then you got your metal sleeve on the big eye ends. Okay? Come on. Need to give a little extra ugga-dugga. And that's it. Other than fact, it's stickier than all hell. That one's ready to hang. You can, if you were here and you had smelly vision, you could smell the undercoating on that vehicle drying. The wind's blowing it this way. At 1, 2 o'clock today, it's supposed to be back up at well in the 90s. And this old guy is going to go inside and enjoy himself. He's not going to be sitting out here. I used a piece of tubing. You can use a large socket or whatever you got handy. Put the eye of the spring over it and do the cut and put this under it. And they come right out. See, here's one that when it went in, it just folded it over. I tapped the thing back out, and a couple taps, and it just fell right out. It is so ate up and rusted, corroded, you will never get it out the easy way, unless you want to take it out and pay someone to press the name out. Let's just see if I can get some more. Another big one. And I'm going to need sleeve. And these go to the shackles in the back. We'll spin them around and do them. I'm just using the rear end because it's convenient for a workstation. I believe when you work on stuff like this, that a little bit of lube works good, a lot more lube works better. Try to keep it off my hands. I'm still going to have it all over everything. Oh, that one practically wanted to jump right into place. Mommy's out with her girl today. Miss Izzy from England. They're out doing girl stuff, shopping, going out to eat, all that stuff. Oh, this is going to be a good one. I'll should have a paper towel down here, but I'll end up cleaning all this stuff off my shoulders anyway. Come on. Come on. I had that little tub of stuff when I was working on the front end, and I used the tub up before I got done with one side. So I just stopped with the tub of the crap. And I put those little tubs up there for little projects. I'll take them out to my sons, put them in our toolbox drawer out there if they need a little something out there. We really don't have a shop up out there yet. But that way there's some. Yep, figures. It jumped right in there. Look at that. I'll just flip this thing over backwards. Give a little bit of looby-doo there. Oh, that one slid right in without any help. Maybe I'll get lucky. Nope, gonna have to have some these on. That's how easy it is to put the poly bushings in. The front ones were a job. These are easy after you figure out how to do them on time. I mean, that just jumped right in there. When we get done here, I'll grab the stuff off my hands and go in the car, and I'll show you how it's all cleaned up and ready, waiting for this. Cannot believe it's coming together like this. It's probably, I'm going to say, well, high 80s right now. I got to keep moving. I got to get this stuff done. Because I got a nice air-conditioned house in there I can just sit in. I'll save the last 4 for the shackle because it's going to be easier to put them on when I'm assembling it on the car. If that makes any sense to you. Every once in a while I get too much lube in there and I have to use these to press it out. So we'll leave those there. Put the lid on my super lubricant. I like the result of using this stuff. I don't like handling it, if that makes any sense. And that, folks, is the bushings. Tomorrow morning I'm going to get that rear end spun over, set on the car skate and rolled out there in position. And I'll put the jack under it so I can raise it up a little bit. Then I'll hang the front springs, I'll raise the rear end up, and then bring the springs up and put the shackles together and everything finger tight till it's all aligned up, and this is sitting in the perch is where it's supposed to be, and then I'll go back in and start tightening it up. Then over the weekend, when I'm really ready to go with the heavier, the 1-inch U-clamps, I'm not using the 3/8 and all the heavier parts, I'll get my I gotta go buy that adapter for my torque wrench and start torquing everything down. I want to be done with that part of it. And then I'll bring, I think a half a gallon of lube or a gallon out of my son's. I'll get the rear end grease in so I don't forget it later. And then I'll dress it, it'll be dressed out with the brakes, the wheel cylinders, all the hardware, the brake drums will go on. You'll get to see me put on a pair of the rally wheels, see how they look. And then what we got to do at that point, ew, this stuff is just, hang on a minute people, I got to get some of this off my hands. It's a nice lubricant. I like it better than oil and stuff. It makes those parts the right amount of pressure. They just, if you got the clean board, they just slide right in. You don't have to fight them. Get some there. I'll be able to touch stuff and not stick to it. Today was prep for the install. Tomorrow will be the install of the axle. Depending on the weather. We're calling for rain, but we never get it. So since I want to work on the car, we'll get it. Give me a second here. Get some stuff picked up and moved out of the way. And that's the only way I know how to take the rest of the bushing sleeves out. It works for me every time, so if you don't like it, don't do it. There's that. I do like the polyurethane bushings versus the old rubber ones, but those bushings, I don't know how old they are. They could even be the originals, I don't know, but they're in pretty good shape. The old boy had this car, took good care of it, and then when he hit an owl or a barn owl or a pheasant or something on the country road, he bought a parts car for the windshield and the stuff he needed and hired someone to work on it. And they just screwed him over big time. Like I'm saying, they literally almost cut the front end off the other car to get the windshield off, because they didn't have no sense to unbolt everything and reach up in there and take the bolts out and lift the windshield out. Lucky for me, they didn't break it. I got the whole car for $100, so I'm money ahead on the parts. Parts I don't want to keep, the parts that actual parts people need, I'm going to let go. Give me 1 second here. It's come a long way in a couple of days. It's only been a week, I picked this up a little over a week ago. Well, 2 weeks ago. It's set outside here because I was in the middle of doing some stuff on the engine compartment and the headers. That's my rainy day work. I can come here and grind on headers because it's nothing that's going to stop me from finishing the car. It's just something I can do to get ahead. Oh, David. I got to get my... Give me 1 second, people. Get this adjusted. That's better. Oh. The camera's heating up, so I got to make it quick. Let me grab it. I love the smell of. Let me get down here on the. Oh. Okay. Here we are. We're all sprayed up and cleaned up. Someone said, why didn't you do the fender wells? Probably, well, because I'm going to be possibly doing flares, and it's just something I'm going to have to clean back off to get in there and cut and weld. So I got some areas to touch up. I want to get this sway bar painted. There it is. There's a good view of the whole thing. It's cleaned up and ready. Once this whole car is done and all the body work's done, we'll go down the sides and do the rust proofing, and then at the same time we'll recoat everything that we've done. But the gas tank will be in, so this will already be done. The rear end will be in. There'll be stuff in the way. So basically, it's going to make it easier in the long run by doing it this way. Figures I'm going to make a video, and someone says, "Hey, Dave's making a video. Get the sirens and the fire trucks out here." The next thing to do, the important part, okay, I'll go one step ahead for you, is once the rear end's bolted in, the U-bolts are in, it's sitting on its tires and the brakes are on, I got to raise it up, take the jack stands out, and set the tires down on the wood, get the car level, because I need to know what the length is at rest, so I can do the formula to come up with the correct shocks, blah 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 blah, suspension stuff, which I'll show on camera when we get to it. I try to explain it, people complain, well, you're talking too much. Well, it's got to be done. If you want a different video, go find one. They'll take a part out of the box and bolt it on there and say, look at me. But we're building as we go. Got a couple tricks I picked up from Bad Chad watching him. The guy is top guns when it comes to this stuff. Mixing fiberglass resin with his body stuff to make it creamier, so it's not as rough or thick to put on. It's kind of like when I used to do some drywall work. I would thin and water down my drywall compound and add white latex paint to it, so when I got done feathering it out and everything, it was already primered, and all you had to do was paint the drywall. Same theory. You got to put a piece of cardboard with a battery box. That's going to be welded closed. you know, sprayed over. There'll be a V set of shocks. One comes down straight vertical at a slight angle. Then you've got one that comes up at an angle toward the front of the car. Then you got the sway bar to keep everything in line. It should make that, oh, excuse me, GM rear end right there work perfect. Right now it's so hot the heat's killing me, so I'm not going to mess with it. Once the rear end's in, and I've got to make it, I made a mistake. I had a failure. I did a part of the project out of sequence. It come back to bite me right on the butt. I'll tell you what it is. My mistake. My bad. The perches are wider, so I could just move the hole over to line up to the MG spring fittings and everything under the MG body, so everything just pins in. I enlarged those based on the S10 rear end, not the new position of the, you got it, the spring pins for the MG springs. Now the MGs had a rubber mount in there. With a 3/8, I can't do that. I'll shear that thing right off. So we're going to go steel to steel. Whether I want to or not. And the way some of the American vehicles are put together. And I think it's 85 pounds torque that I can put on the 1/2-inch bolts to lock this thing down, where the 3/8 bolts with the rubber pads or the polyurethane pads that you can only put like 25 to 30 pounds of torque on. See, because you don't want to collapse the pad. It's not going to get it, because it will shift and rip this rear end to hell and back. So I'm making it stable and tight and right for what I'm doing for my build. Someone says the rear end would tear the dampers up. I don't know. I'm not using dampers. I'm using a twin shock system on both sides that I used to use over 50 years ago, street racing. To give the rear end control on the travel and, you know, the bite. So I'm going to be putting that back in here. And that's it, people. Camera's getting red hot to the touch. This is all we got done today. When that dries all the way by tomorrow, I'll be out here at first light. I'll put the camera up underneath the vehicle and I'll start bolting this together, because I got all the parts up there. And then when the other stuff comes, I can go to town. I got to get out to my son to get the perches fixed so I can get the final bolt in with the 1/2-inch clamps. I got to find a 1/2 to 3/8 adapter so I can stick it on my torque wrench and go to town on all this stuff. Grease up the rear end. I want the rear end part of this job done. Other than the fact that I bent a bolt. Bad David. I'll take it out and get me another one. That's it, people. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, subscribe, and hang in there. Tomorrow it'll be in place. I may or may not start hanging the brake shoes and dressing it out tomorrow. I got to do something about the brake cables, emergency brake setup I'm doing. And when I get done, it'll be ready to hook up the steel lines to it over to the fitting, which I got to work on and decide how I'm going to do this. because the brakes are the next thing to get plumbed in the car. But before then, I got 2 fenders to put on the front of it to get them out of my way. I got parts to put on the car to clean this out. I want to get my MIG out. Then he said he'll work on it if I get it out. I'll get it out. The wire's been in there for over 10 years. He said trash it. I got a new roll here somewhere. I'll get it in there and get it fed in. I don't know what else to tell you, people. Like, subscribe. You guys have a beautiful day and a blessed day, and get your build on. Okay? Let's just do this.